Hello everybody and welcome back to this tutorial. And right now what we're going to do right after we actually discovered how we can find out what technologies is the target website using, now we can see how we can actually try to brute force a login page on a target website. In order to actually see that, we're going to use the OWASP virtual machine that we created and a login page on that specific virtual machine to test out our brute forcing skills, and we're going to use the tool called Hydra in order to perform that task. Now keep in mind that the actual brute forcing part or the syntax for the Hydra can be a little bit tricky, so I'm going to try to explain the best I can. So let's get right into it. So the first thing you need to do is start up your Kali Linux as well as start up your OS virtual machine. Regarding the Hydra tool, you can simply just run it in your terminal specifying hydra-help, and you will get the actual help menu that will show you how you can actually use the Hydra tool. Okay, so the first thing that we are interested in is finding out what the IP address of our OS virtual machine is. So I will simply just type in the OWASP terminal ifconfig, and the IP address is 192.168.1.8. Good. So the next thing, as we don't really need this menu, I will explain it as I type the command. The next thing that we're going to need before we actually type the command is the username list and the password list. First thing, we're going to simply let us just nano onto the desktop two different files, so users.txt, and here we'll specify root admin tor 1 2 3 4 5 test 1 2 3, and that would be about it. We don't really need too large of a password of a username list, and then we can use a password list as well, so passwords.txt, and we're simply just going to type here again root test 1 2 3 password admin password 1 2 3, doesn't even matter. So let's save this, and now we have our two files on the desktop, the users file and the passwords file. So we're going to use this one as a username list and this one as a password list. And right now that we coded all of this, or not coded, that we created all of this, let us go to the Firefox. Right here on my actual OS virtual machine, we need to find a certain login page that we can actually use our passwords and user.txt to brute force. So what we want to go, where we want to go to is we want to go to OWASP bricks right here. So click on there, and right here you will get this page opened up, which will still belong to your actual OS virtual machine. And you want to go onto the bricks tab right here and to the login pages. And here you will have different login pages, and we want to click, for example, on the login page number 3, and we will have this login page right here. Okay, and the goal is to actually brute force this login page. So the first thing that we can actually try out right here is to see what is the output once we input a username and password that is not correct. So right here under the username, let's type 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and here 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Click here on submit, and you will see this output right here which says wrong username or password. Now this is actually quite interesting for us because we are going to use it in our syntax, so it is essential for us to actually see it and type it in our syntax of the command the same way as it is outputted right here on the web page. Right now let us go back to the actual Kali Linux machine and let's start crafting our own commands. I will zoom this in a little bit so we can see everything better, and let us type the Hydra help menu just for one specific thing, and that is to see what is the syntax for using the actual password list. And we can see right here that under the -L, which is login, and we have -L, it says file login with login name or load several logins from file, which basically means this is our users .txt file, and this pass or P is the actual password file. Now, why does it have two options, the lower letter L and the capital letter L, as well as the lower letter P and the capital letter P? Well, the lower letters are actually used to specify only one username or password. So for example, if you were to run the Hydra command and only specify one username, you would use the -L and then the username that you want to use, as well as the -P and then the password you want to use. But if you want to specify a file, which it should use to actually brute force the username and password, you would specify capital L and capital P, and after these actual capital L's and P's, you will specify the file name or the file path. Okay, so that is what I wanted to say, and right now let's start off by typing Hydra, and then the actual IP address of the target machine that we are attacking, which is 192.168.1.8. Right now, we need to use a specific option which is actually called http-form-post. Now, you might be asking, why are we typing this? Well, in the actual HTML code and in the actual websites, this login window right here is usually called a form. So once you have to actually input a username and password, that is called a form. And once you input it right here and you submit that, that is called a post request. So you're sending your actual username and password to the target server, should I say, and therefore you're performing a post request on a form of username and password. Therefore, that's why we are specifying that in our command. Okay, so there are also GET requests and POST requests, but in this case, we're performing a POST request on a specific form. And right after it, we need to open the double quotes, and in between the double quotes, we need to specify a few different things. The first part that we need to specify is going to be the actual directory or the path to this login page. And what I mean by that is simply the name of the website or the actual website is this IP address. But to actually go to this page, we need to travel to this path right here, which is /osbrick/login-3 and then /index.php. Okay, so we need to copy this path, so /osbricks. Make sure that you don't really create a typo because otherwise this will not work. So login-3 and then /index.php. So this is the path to this login page right here. The next thing we need to specify is the actual username and password as it is actually inputted in the HTML code of this page. And how we can do that, we can simply just check out view page source, and this will open up the actual HTML code of this specific page. Now what we are interested in finding is the actual username and password field and the ID, or should I say the name of those fields, that we can actually specify in our command in order for the Hydra to know where to input our usernames and passwords for our user.txt and password.txt lists. So we can go all the way right here and try to search for something like passwords, and here we can find it. We have a few outputs for password, as we can see right here, password. Okay, so that is the actual error message that we get once we input the wrong password. We are going to need it in just a second. And the actual fields that we are using in order to input the username and password are these two fields. So these are the actual two fields or two rows that we are interested in. So for the username, we need to go right here and go and search for the name or ID, and we can see that the ID and name is simply just username. Therefore, to let the Hydra know how they should input the actual username into this website, we need to call this name right here or this ID. So copy it, even though we can't really copy it right here. And to separate it from this path, we need to specify two dots. So this is the first part of the command under the double quotes. The second part is specifying the username and password field. So we can simply just type username equals, and this is where the syntax gets a little bit weird. So this upper arrow right here, should I say, and then user, I will just type it right here and then I will explain it what I did. So this is specifying the user. Then we need this sign right here to specify after the user. So username equals this upper arrow, capital user, again this upper arrow, and then this sign. And then after it, we need to specify the same for password. So we need to see what is the name of the password field. And we can do that just by going down here. And we can see the name of the password field as well as the ID is passwd. Or pardon me, passw. Yeah, it is passwd. So we need to use this exact name to specify in our command. So passwd equals, and then once again this upper arrow, upper arrow, and then pass, and then again upper arrow, and then again this sign. Okay, and then the last thing that we need to specify is to click on a button, because on our login page, once we input the username and password and click on a button, we need to click on a button in order to submit that username and password. Therefore, we need to specify the same thing in our actual command. So we can see that the button is called submit, and we can check the actual code of the source page, and we can see right here that the type is submit and the name is also submit. Therefore, in our command, we will specify submit equals submit. And that's the second part of the command under the double quotes. And the last part is specifying a string that we get as an output if we specify a wrong username and password. Now, the reason why we are doing that is because once we specifying a wrong username and password, we will get this output right here. And therefore, we need to specify the same output in our Hydra command, so it will know when it used the wrong username and password. So how this will work, it will brute force with the users.txt and passwords.txt file. And if it finds a username and password that do not get the output, which is this one, that means that it found the correct username and password, and it will prompt this, and it will prompt the correct username and password back to us. Therefore, we need to specify the output that we get once we specify the wrong username and password. So, wrong username and password dot. Now, make sure that it is written the same as it is written right here. So, capital W, wrong username or password dot. Make sure that you separate user and name. It is not one word, okay? Otherwise, this will not work. And that is the actual ending of this command. All we're left to specify is dash capital L for the users.txt and the dash capital P, which is passwords.txt. Okay? And right now, if you simply just take this command and press here enter, we should only be getting one result, which is correct, and we can see one result we got back: login, admin, password, admin. So if we go right here and try that, and then admin, press here enter, and we can see successfully logged in. Okay, so we successfully logged into our login page. We brute forced the actual page with our users.txt and passwords.txt using the Hydra tool, and we successfully got the username and password back. So that would be a simple example of using Hydra. Now we're going to code our own brute forcer later on in this section, so make sure to stick to that. And in the next video, we're going to we're going to introduce ourselves with a tool that most of the web penetration testers use, and it is one of the most important tools that you need to master if you want to become a bug bounty hunter, if you want to basically perform penetration testing on a website. That is the tool called burpsuit. So I will show you in the next video how you can set it up. You can install the certificate for the burpsuit, how you can set it up as a proxy, and how you can intercept and sniff different packets. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope I will see you in the next one. Bye.